Yes, indeed. That's what we'll be focusing on today now on the program, the situation in Osun State. Well, we have actually reached out to the state government over this same matter so that they can come to the program and give their own version of what is really going on out there. But at the moment, they're not able to make the program, but the slot is always open for them if and when they choose to. But we've got Tola Nosigbe, who joins us now. She's the Secretary of the Trade Union Congress in Osun State. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Well, give us a background to this. Yes, we've seen several reports and there's been several stories everywhere about the situation in Osun State. What is it from your perspective?
Actually, salaries workers, state workers have not been paid for the last 7 months. And it's pitiful that in spite of some of the unions, some are on slow down strike, some on total strike, some are warming up, the response from the government hasn't really been there. That's the way I see it, you know, from the perspective of the Trade Union Congress.
What kind of response are we talking about?
Okay, salaries are not paid. What is the reason? How are these monies going to be paid? What are we going to do next? As the Secretary of the Trade Union Congress on the 13th of May, with my national leader, that's Comrade Bala Boboy Kagama, I happened to be in a meeting with the governor, Rauf Aregbesola, the deputy governor, and to my Secretary General of the TUC. And we now told him, our members are dying. I'm saying dying because of those that are hypertensive, diabetic, you know, and with Osun State being what it is, most people there depend on the civil servants. And to cut a long story short, he said he had financial challenges, that when there was a cut in the, the revenue allocation coming from the federal government due to the global cut, recess in oil prices, it affected him because he gave me in figures like 75% of what comes...
That's the governor?
Yes, I'm quoting Rauf Aregbesola. This was what he told me on the 13th of May when I met him with my national leader, that, 75% of what comes in is what he has been using to finance the salary. But by the time he took stock of his figures and his intake, he found out that, in fact, he had been borrowing money to pay what he was paying his workers, that he was kind of top-heavy. These were some of the issues he was talking about. But he was saying, okay, yes, he knows it's a financial challenge, but he's going to overcome it, and that he was going to call the labor leaders concerned to present his case, and that, we should now think of a way to sit down and chart a course forward. He also said his IGR, he just realized that 71% of it comes from pay deductions. But a hungry man is an angry man with a blocked brain.
But the thing about that is that I don't know which employer will be happy to see this kind of situation faster. But he also did say, I think in the same breath, that he's not happy that he's not been able to pay salaries. But all of the word that he's put out there about those figures and the dwindling fortunes, are they not correct?
Well, I will say they are correct. But, like I said, now I'm talking as a labor activist. I'm not going to talk like an administrator. I'm going to talk like a labor activist. A hungry man is an angry man. Yes, he is paying back loans that were collected by Osun State when Osun State was still part of Oyo State. Yes, he went into a lot of capital projects, which he borrowed money from banks. He said he's so loaned that the banks don't want to borrow him. But something is still coming in.
From where?
From the federal government. It's not, the state is still, the government is still being run. Some money is still coming in, even if 71% of the IGR is...
Sorry, because we're looking for solution now.
Yes, yes.
What aspect are you looking at? If you say monies are still coming in, perhaps you have to give them some form of advice to see what can be done with such monies coming in.
Thank you very much. That's the point. That was like why TUC opted for a slow-down strike. That was, we didn't want a total closure. Since the struggle is economic-based, and what we need to pay these salaries, that is money. So we didn't want a situation where we close down all the offices and the little IGRs, maybe licensing, tenement rate, are lost. Because what we are saying now is, okay, have a round table discussion with the genuine labor leaders that are concerned. Tell them your situation. Tell us how much is left. Let us know where we're going to make cuts. Let's know where we're going to make adjustments. Let us know how much can be paid off, at least for now. And then based on, the situation, well, we thank God it's, we're now in a time of change and we're believing things will be better.
I'm smiling when you said
genuine
labor leaders that are concerned.
Yes.
Are there leaders that are not concerned?
Well, when I say genuine labor leaders, I see a situation whereby the head of service of the state, I can't remember him calling any, labor leaders per se to any meeting. I can remember an affiliate of mine, that's Association of Senior Civil Servants, Osun State Chapter. They wrote complaining then about these unpaid salaries when it was just 2 or 3 months. He called them to a meeting and said, I'll get back to you. He never did. They now went to protest. It was covered by channels. Then they spoke with the deputy governor. What I'm trying to say is that is Jusum, we just saw on the TV. You have a situation whereby the head of service, who is in charge of these workers, is not calling the actual chairman of affiliates. I might have to refer to an incident here where TUC's boss was purportedly, was conveying some thugs to stop some people from going to work. This situation was something that I could say partly happened because of the role the head of service had been playing. He knew the actual chairman of TUC, of the council. He knew the actual secretary. You don't call these people to meetings. You now call people that are either former chairmen, former secretaries, that are not representing the workers, that are not actually the leaders of the workers. It's like you just appoint somebody and say, okay, you will now be the acting secretary of TUC. We are having a meeting. How are we going to go about it? Somebody that doesn't have an affiliate, that doesn't have a base.
Let's go back to the avenues you think monies can be better utilized for the payment of salaries.
I didn't say better utilized. I'm trying to say, based on what he said, the little that is coming in, let him place his cards on the table. How much is coming in? This is how much that is owed.
Are there categories of persons in Osun State that are being paid salaries while others are being owed?
No, that I know of for the state.
So it was a uniform problem there?
Pardon? Yes, it is a uniform problem for the state workers.
Well, we understand that at the moment that it's just the governor, the deputy governor, and a few aides. You don't have the retinue of all those commissioners, SAs. So
it's true.
Is he not doing something? Doesn't that speak, saying, look, well, maybe he's also trying to see how he could cut a lot of things down and pay salaries? Yes,
that's a good pointer. But I still keep on saying, for the man that hasn't collected his salary for 8 months, he will tell you those people that are still there, those few 5, their children are going to school. They are feeding, but they are not. And those people you said, that's like I said, he has to come out. When I went for that meeting with him, we're only 5 in that meeting.
You think it should have been more?
I think he needs to call other union leaders, other chairmen, other secretary. If you look at Jusum, it's a union on its own. When you talk about Saturai, it's a union on its own. You talk about NUAP, you understand. Even when you talk about we're going on strike, it's the Joint Negotiating Council. The Joint Negotiating Council is just made up of 8 unions.